Hey, namaskar everyone, this is Shaurabh back again with a new video. So in this video we are going to learn what are generics in Golang. So initially I was not planning to make this video on Golang, but later on I decided why not, because Golang itself included this feature in Go language, so why not to make a video on it, because in initial days Go was not actually interested in generic data types. Their ideology were very simple because they need to make it without generics. Okay, so later on public demands they had implemented this, and right now we are gonna explore it together. So I have already opened up my VS Code and created a new folder called day16 where we need to initialize a Golang project. To do that, we need to follow and run the following command, which is go mod init and followed by the package name which you want to name your project. In my case, I'm going to name it as gen. It can be different for you, whatever, it completely depends up to you. Okay, now right after executing that following command, you will be able to see a new file is visible in your Explorer under your created folder, which is go.mod. At the same level you need to create another file called main.go. Okay, pardon for my typing typos. And then at the very top we need to declare the package main, so that the Golang project can understand that this is the main file where we need to look for, right? Then we need to also make a function called main, which is going to be the main entry point for executing all the codes of this project. But we are not stopping here. If you and again, it's a disclaimer that there are some prerequisites on following this video, because there are some concepts that are really relatable with our and linked with our previous videos, so you must need to understand them before watching this video. Okay, so if you don't know how to create functions, then I would highly recommend you to head over to that video where I have already made a video on functions, completely dedicated on functions, where you can learn how to create a function and what are arguments and what are values, return types, and so on. So it's completely up to you if you wanna learn it. Okay, and now let's create another function called inc, which is going to be org as a incrementing number, as going to be org as the incrementer. Okay, so it will take argument called value. It's going to be a type of integer, as it need to be increase its number. So you will return the value with a multiplied by 2. So if the value is given here 2, then it will be multiplied with 4, which results and return the 4. So that 4 is also integer, so we need to specify the return type as well. So now let's create another variable called result, and this variable will contain assign with the return value coming from that from the function which we have just created. And and this function is expecting a value which is an integer type that we have already declared before. And now let's give it 2. So it's going to take the 2 value here, and it will multiply that value with 2, which is 4. Now it will return that result here. Now after that, as this result is going to be assigned inside this res variable, then if we import that fmt package, which is going to give us a lot of functions to print it. So let's use one of them, which is println, which will print that corresponding or expected data inside your terminal. So let's fill it up with res and run the go file, go run main, and you will be able to see that 4 is coming here. 4 is completely visible here. It's 4 because you know what I mean. So now what if you want to increment 2.3? So now it's going to make its hands up, because it was not expecting integer floating type, because it was expecting integer and you were giving it a floating number, which is not true. Okay, it's completely unethical, bro. So to eliminate this problem, we have the concept of generics. it's completely fine. And in other languages it was like this, but in Golang they made it a little bit unique. So they're using this first bracket, and here you need to give it a name type. It's a convention to use capital word and single digit single capital word with the custom type, and give it a type called as it's an integer and numeric things, so it will be integer or a floating 32 or float 64 as well. So now this t is going to be taken here as the value and return here as the same thing as well. So now you can see it's not giving us any errors or warnings. So here you can see it's running here. That's completely good. 2.3 into 2 is 4.6. I don't know what it's actually doing here, but it's okay, not a problem. So now if you just come here and give it a string, then it's not going to be accepted, because you have mentioned it that the t is just going to take this much a certain number of data types. As we are calculating it, we should not take any string data type, because we cannot calculate string data type. Okay, so yeah, that's up to you how we can use it. But if you are for a larger things, I can also give you something like that function, and here you can see that anything print. Okay, any ing anything, and let's make it a t and comparable. So let's see what comparable gives us. Comparable is an interface that is implemented by comparable types, which can take booleans, numbers, strings, pointers, channels, arrays of comparable types, structs as well. Okay, those whose fields are also comparable. So we will cover it later on. And yeah, it's t here, not that. Value t, and just generic should be here, and the comparable, and yeah, that is it. And we are not returning anything, so he's just going to print it out here. To print it out, we know that println takes a really heavy lifting for us. And if you just come here and replace this in inc with this anything, then it's going to give you the result, expected result here. Oops, not expected result. So it's not going to return anything, so there is no meaning of getting it inside a variable and running it, because right after calling this function, it will print it out inside the execution of that particular function. So that's the science behind it. If you run it here, you can see that hello is being here. And if you run it here, give it a value of 1, so it's also going to take it. If you just going to give it an integer of slice 1 2 3 4, something like that, it's not satisfy the comparable. Okay, so it's not satisfying, so we have another thing called any. So it will take almost anything. You have another option called interface as well, which also expects a calling process with that. So that's it. That's what is generic. It is actually something called reusable things. You can use reusable data types as well at the same time. So yeah, I hope you understand what are generics in Golang. And if you like this video, then make sure to subscribe this channel and hit the like button of this video. And if you're interested and want others to learn, then don't forget to share this video with your friends. So thank you guys. Namaskar everyone. Good night.